2, 1. Hello, 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 hello. I'm Christopher Herring. I'm the Executive Director of Global Chamber San Antonio. Today we are celebrating Black History Month 2023. I wanted to show you this picture just as we open. This is the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and we have with us today Texas State Representative Josey Garcia, House District 124, and we have her Chief of Staff, Pharaoh Clark. Additionally, I've added to the roster of people who are going to talk to us today is Dr. Shwanda Onwuachi, and she will talk to us today about what it is that Black boys experience as they go to manhood. Today, I'm just very pleased to be able to have this group. We were in a meeting last week and just really had a chance to visit about the role of the state representative. I know that she's very busy. She actually made just a little bit of time for me today, so I'm very appreciative. State Rep, what's going on in the Capitol today? What kind of legislative work are you working through? We know that in the state of Texas, everything is big, and we know that the agenda that's before you in session is really big. So please take it away.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm proud to be here with you and Dr. Shwanda. We've had some community advocacy work that we've done together, and we're so proud of the work that she's doing with our youth. You know, today at the Capitol, not only is today the last day that we celebrate on the calendar Black history, right? Because Black history is every day, all day. So not only is today the last day that we celebrate Black history, but some amazing things are happening in the Capitol today. We have gun advocates from all over Texas that are at the Capitol today, speaking with their representatives, seeking common sense gun legislation. And I think this is something that hits all of us. I know Dr. Shwanda, look, I get goosebumps right now just thinking about how like terrifying times are for you as an educator, not only for you, but for our students. And, you know, it just makes me feel good as a mother and also as somebody whose family has been impacted by gun crime to see so many folks from San Antonio, to include Big Mama Safe House and the Benny Price, who's been doing so much work on gun legislation and trying to take weapons off the streets. So that's something that's happening today. And I don't think it's by coincidence that today is the day that they're here. I think that this is definitely something that affects our communities in large part. And we're showing today with the thousands of people that are here that our voices are power.
You said a lot there. I also want to ask you, what committees were you assigned? This is your first opportunity to serve as Texas State Representative. And so what committees were you assigned, and what does that look like for you in terms of impacting our city of San Antonio?
Well, I can't tell you enough how excited I am to have been chosen to serve on not only Culture, Recreation, and Tourism Committee. I think we all know what kind of an impact this committee can make on San Antonio. But also, I don't think people realize that with the Culture, Tourism, and Recreation Committee, we're able to hit on some of the topics like Black History Month being every day and not just February. A lot of temperature in the House, let me tell you, is surrounding Juneteenth right now. There are no documented Juneteenth statues within the state of Texas. And we're hoping that being a part of this committee will help us be able to get the recognition that Juneteenth needs as a federal holiday and a Texas holiday, because Juneteenth originated, everything, ground zero was in Galveston, around that area. And it's time that we work real hard to try to bring more representation in our monuments and our statues and the things that we are able to celebrate. But even more so than that, I'm proud to serve on the Defense and Veteran Affairs Committee. Now, Military City, USA, San Antonio, and my being a woman veteran,
Yeah.
just the honor and the pride. Am I right, Major Herring? Like the honor and the pride that you feel being chosen to be on this committee for your expertise in that field. Like there are no other women veterans in the House. There never has been. So let's think about that, much less to be a woman of color.
Well,
so to have that impact and to be a voice for our veterans, one thing that we really want to focus on is mental health. Mental health is something that I pretty much can say that any topic we discuss right now has a mental health focus in it. So I'm really excited for the type of impact that I can help bring to not only Bexar County and San Antonio, but to our communities all over the state of Texas.
Well, thank you so much, State Rep. So you have with you Pharaoh Clark. Pharaoh, unmute, because I'd like for you to introduce yourself. I know that Pharaoh, Josey, and myself, we met some years ago. Pharaoh, open it up. Tell the people how we met, and then tell the people who you are and what you're doing now.
My name is Pharaoh Clark. I'm the Chief of Staff for Josey Garcia. And we met in our activism days, we're still activists. We met in our activism days, kind of starting good trouble, being on the streets of San Antonio, trying to get out there and educate not only our youth, but also our city, our public officials on what these different issues were surrounding police brutality, surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement, and all essence really just surrounding civil rights, because in my opinion, it all ties into, the same fight that our ancestors were fighting, the same fight that many of our family and friends have fought. To me, this was just an extension of that same fight. So I was able to meet Mr. Herring in the thick of it, kind of marching in our revolutionary days, where we were really at the forefront of bringing what we called protest to policy, which was how do we change, how do we go from, marching on these issues and talking about these issues that are so important and have been for so many generations, but how do we change that from just talking about it, just marching about it, just protesting about it, to actually affecting policy? And, that kind of led us to working together, which then, also led to some of the nonprofit stuff that we did, which ended up, leading to Josey throwing her ring in the hat here for the state office. And we were lucky to be able to grab it. And, with these 2 years that we have, we want to just make sure that we're connecting as much as possible with the people, the movers and shakers that are actually affecting work in the community, that we're, being as big of a part in using this platform to project even further what we were already doing. So continuing that protest to policy mission is why I'm here, what's important for me, and what we wake up every day fighting for.
Thank you, Pharaoh. I do want to bring in Dr. Shwanda now into the mix, because I'm glad that State Rep Garcia basically talked about your work. Where are you right now? What is your contribution to Black History Month? Because I know you have some impressionable people that you work with every day. So let's go.
Well, I'm Dr. Shwanda Onwuachi. Hi, Pharaoh. Hi, State Rep. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
I love these people. All right, but I am at San Antonio Preparatory School while I'm a part of the administration team. And what we do is make sure that we educate Brown and Black children. That is our focus, to make sure that we stop the bleed of Black boys that are over proportionately going into the special education. So because there's a lack of understanding of cultural relevance with Black and Brown children, especially boys, you will notice that in the education system, because we don't understand how to discipline or correct, restore. So what we end up having IEPs, we end up maligning our boys, we end up targeting, and we end up labeling them. And so they go through matriculate through the school system with in special education. So it's our job here at San Antonio Prep to make sure that we place boys, Black and Brown boys, on a trajectory for success. So I met State Rep and and Pharaoh right here at San Antonio Prep, where they came to our school. Pharaoh came and spoke to our boys in the classroom, did an awesome job here. And State Rep came here, and just a wonderful person, beautiful spirit, where in our MLK March that we had here. And just getting to know them has been a blessing for what we all do in the community for children.
So, you know, it's very interesting. I know that Josey, you know, you can unmute. We were talking about, you know, Black History Month, and you have a distinction of being able to serve not just one community, but two. Can you want to describe that? And then also, what does this Black History Month mean to you?
Well, obviously I'm biracial. And for me, that's something that I couldn't be more proud of. A large part of my childhood was being taught to be ashamed of that fact. And I couldn't be more proud today than to be able to represent those of our people who are biracial, who, you know, want to fight not only for their Black family, but also for their Latino families, you know, and I think it's so important because a lot of our issues are the same issues. But, you know, there is still the differences. There are some still inherent differences that is so important that we amplify, you know, what those needs are in the community. And I think somebody with my perspective in terms of experiences in life can really be an asset in helping us further on and ending some of those biases that we often see and often we perpetrate ourselves. Pharaoh and I have conversations sometimes about, you know, how folks are wanting to like judge us according to how dark or how light we are based on, you know, whether we're capable. And if anything, on this Black History, this final day of Black History, I'm so proud to be a representation of somebody who doesn't have to choose. I'm somebody who can be unapologetic and advocate for our rights unapologetically. And that's why I'm so proud. I couldn't be more proud to stand next to my Texas Legislative Black Caucus family. I could not be more proud to stand next to my Mexican American Legislative Caucus family. Why? Because we love Texas and we love Texans. And the only way that we're going to see any change is to be present and demand our seat at the table to make these changes.
Wow. Pharaoh, your story is something similar. Please tell us, you know, how you feel about Black History Month. Who has made some impacts in your life?
Man, there's there's so many people for so many reasons. First and foremost, I'd have to say my mom, being a single Black woman and, you know, raising children. I got to see, you know, some of the amazingness of what, and you know, it's sad because it's the beauty and the sadness of what our women go through. Because on the one hand, for me, what was so beautiful is I saw somebody who would not break, you know, no matter which way she was bent, no matter what, she would not break. She went, you know, did whatever she had to do to ensure that me and my sisters always had food on the table, always had a roof over our head, that we never, in fact, even knew that we were struggling. It wasn't until we were, you know, adults that we realized how hard she actually had it and what those sacrifices that she made meant and why she made them. So, you know, that's one of my number one heroes to me. But you know, obviously you have your normals, your Martin Luther King, your Malcolm X's, but someone who really for me made a personal difference, I would have to say, is President Obama. And the reason for me that was so important, and I think not only for myself, I would say probably for a number of young Black men specifically that come from lower economic backgrounds or even, you know, single family homes, it hit a point, you know, where it just it restored belief in the fact that we can. You know, for so long in this country, I think we had been taught to believe that these certain seats weren't really for us. You know, we didn't really belong in these certain arenas. And seeing him, you know, make that successful run at presidency and then his successful reelection And, being able to see how he navigated through that political arena, it really restored faith and hope in myself that, wait a minute, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter your level of degrees or qualifications. You as an individual and as a person can make a difference. And, that's something that for me, it stood out, and it really started me personally on my path to see how I could get involved politically in making a difference.
Very nice, Pharaoh. Thank you. And let me just let the audience know that Texas State Rep also has duties that she had to break away for. They gave me the notice up front to say that she's busy, very busy. So we do appreciate the fact that she came on. And
she's going to be, I don't think she's off yet. She'll be back on. It's probably a computer glitch.
Oh, okay. Well, so Dr. Shwanda, who are some of the people who impacted your life as you think about Black History Month 2023?
I'd have to say the teachings of Minister Louis Farrakhan, the teachings of Marcus Garvey and Chinua Achebe. And they're always on my wall. So every time someone comes in, they're able to see the men that I admire because of their ability to speak truth to power, regardless of their viewpoints. And so, or how people see them. And sometimes I believe that we have to go against the grain. We have to not be so common. We have to have a message that speaks to the maligned people. And here's what I have noticed and why I admire these men is because oftentimes I find that there is a need among people of color to give a disclaimer that if I choose me, it means that I have an issue with you. So I always hear them say, if they speak of someone like a Minister Louis Farrakhan or a Marcus Garvey, they would say things like, but I'm not a racist. It doesn't mean that you're racist because you choose the message that chooses you. And so I think that as Black people, we have to get to the point where we can speak our truth without giving a disclaimer. It's time that we no longer do that we be unapologetic with our stories, that we be unapologetic with how we project those stories. And as we watch people embrace so many other cultures, we have to come to the table and say, this is who we are.
Definitely.
And we embrace ourselves.
That's beautifully said. Pharaoh, you were going to say something.
No, I was just saying that was beautiful. I thought she hit that right on the head.
She really did. I mean, I'm thinking about a lot of things right now. I'm thinking about this education system that has just basically been turned upside down for us, where Black history is now a threat to the overall well-being of non-Black children. At least that's what we're told. And so there was a question that came in that I will ask you both, but I like this, what is you all's opinion on the removing of minority studies or Black history from public classrooms?
Well, as you know, I did write the African-American curriculum here at San Antonio Prep. So it is very important that children know all of history because Black history is American history. So if you take out a part of the history, you take out a part of the people that have made a lot of contributions, and I dare to say mostly built the country, the foundation definitely, then how is the story true? It does become his story. Right. And so I believe that it is necessary. This is why children are not necessarily interested in history, especially brown and Black children. I don't see myself as a great contributor, but I am only a sideline person. Why am I interested in that history? So we have to make sure that as they took out Black people out of history and take out the studies, that's what I mean to say, the studies, as it were, children are not so interested. It leads to behavior problems. I'm going to go down that road. It leads to a lot of things when I don't have interest, when it's not culturally relevant.
we also know that with the ending of slavery in America, the legislative engine so put into place where they were building the ability for us to be in prisons and to be in jail or to be enslaved again. So this notion that education system was designed to educate us, I think is just it's a farce. This is now where we're seeing certain states like in Texas that have now said that they want to lead the example. And that's why we're seeing the things that we're seeing in Florida.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to go to Pharaoh. So now that you're seeing how education has been unraveled, what is it that the Texas Legislative Black Caucus and members are trying to do to correct the wrong that has basically now been changing the way in which our kids are being educated?
That's something that is kind of really sad what's going on right now in our education system. Right now, as far as the Black Caucus is concerned, I know as a collective and as separately individually, we have several reps that are writing various laws trying to combat, this attack that's going on our school systems. But the reality is right now is that we're in a losing battle because we're facing a house that obviously has more support from the Republican side than it does from the Democrat side. And unfortunately, that seems to be the side that's pushing this narrative that we need to do away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to do away with, this so-called critical race theory. We need to do away with educating people on the reality of situations that took place. And for me, I find it very disheartening to be in a place, to come from a place that, claims so much and promotes itself so much on being a God country and a God state. We put God in front of everything at this state. We it's literally how we operate. And when it comes to our Black and brown community, that seems to always disappear. And that's something that's really interesting to me because it's not the God that I was taught about. It's not the love that I was taught about. And to me, anything less than dishonest, anything less than being honest is a lie. And so I feel that what's being perpetrated is the biggest con, the biggest lie in history, as they're basically whitewashing our history. It's damaging not only to our children who need to know that identity because they need to know, and it's not about knowing, the sadness of, oh, this is where you came, this is where no. It's an understanding that our people have nothing that's been put against us has broken us. Look at where we've come from and look at where we're at now. To me, that's the importance of us understanding our story. It's an understanding that no matter how much we've been bent, we have not broken. And if we understand that fully, then I think our youth start to understand that, wait a minute, no matter what I'm going through in my life, it does not compare to what we've gone through for 400 years. And it will not break me. I still have the ability to strive. I still have the ability to move forward. And I still have the ability to become anything I want to become.
State Rep, you have a powerful chief of staff and his thoughts are very, very, very on point. What would you like to add to this discussion about what are you and the others who are elected going to try to do to reverse the curse of taking our history out of the education system?
Being loud and proud, that's number one. You can't take something from us that we experienced. You know what I mean? That's something that can never be taken from us. I think what we have to do is organize. Without sounding cliche, it's so important to get like-minded folks together who are interested in, ending the generational curses. One thing too is we have to be able to open up opportunity for our young men, especially our young men. I'm proud to say that every single member of my staff that I brought with me from San Antonio was an impacted young man of color. You know what I mean? And these are people who I witnessed myself were willing to lay down their life quite literally, in the sake of making a change for their community. I don't know. I don't know what school they teach people to be that dedicated to the community. It's the school of hard knocks that teaches, that deep commitment to community. And, I think offering those opportunities regularly, showing them that it's something that's achievable, is just so important to stay present and to, really amplify the voices of those who are doing the good work and inviting others to come in with us. That's one thing that I really want to strive for, is to be able to share what we have with others. It's not going to do not one of us any good to try to be the best we could personally be if we're not enriching our people that are with us. We have to enrich our students. We have to enrich, those people who volunteer with us. The more people who are able to fly and shine, the better we are as leaders. And I think that's something that has been a detriment, to our communities for a long time. And that's something that I'm hoping to see, us and other legislators come forth with, is saying, hey, you know what? It's not about one person shining. It's about everybody coming together to make reasonable and sustainable change for our future.
Dr. Shwanda, so when you think about the history of our people, who are some of the protesters in education that you look at as a role model when we're dealing with situations like this?
Well, the person that I actually look at as a role model is Gloria Ladson-Billings. If you understand who Gloria Ladson-Billings is, she was the person that coined the phrase culturally relevant pedagogy. And now who stands in front of your classroom actually determines how your child is able to relate to the curriculum. So that is the greatest protest for me, to go inside the school system. And it's great to have those who are walking outside and making sure their voices are heard. But it's the people that work within the system that changes the curriculum that your children are learning. And so Gloria Ladson-Billings, who my research was actually based on for my dissertation, is actually my role model, because she talks about how you change children through understanding where they come from socially, economically, where they come from politically, where they come from in the structure of their homes. And until she coined that phrase, culturally relevant pedagogy, children, the curriculum was whitewashed and no one really paid attention to it. So she's my role model because she made us take a look at how, when a curriculum is Eurocentric, how it's a disservice to brown and Black children.
I was asked a question also, who was someone I looked up to, and the person who I looked up to was a very unique man. His name was Ronald Harmon Brown. He was the Secretary of Commerce. I had the opportunity to escort Secretary Brown when I was in the Air Force, and it was interesting. He had received the Lynx Award for Citizen of the Year, and when they gave him the award, and we were in his car going back. This was in Beverly Hills, California. I remember he said to get involved and be in business. He says, because the only way in which you can be free is to control your own destiny by owning your own business. And then he said, next to that, he says, join a chamber of commerce. Join a chamber, because he says chambers of commerce are the way in which you're going to learn and be in a company of people who are trying to strive and be, like you want to be. You want to be successful in business. So chambers of commerce was the other advice. And so that was my role model coming up next to my parents. Of course, I had two strong parents, mother and father, who sacrificed. And they made sure that every time that in schools, a teacher said he's not smart enough, or he can't be in the accelerated program with the white kids, they said, nope, he's gonna be in that class with the white kids. And then they would look at me and said, you better get to work, and you better get those grades up. And they stayed in me, and I'm just so happy that I had two strong parents who loved me so much, and my brothers so much, that they gave us a real strong advantage in life. So that's why I'm doing Global Chamber. And the way that I see Global Chamber is it's a great opportunity for me to see people from all over the world and to impress upon them by giving them a positive example of love. I can educate a person after they understand how I feel about them. But I think what's happening now in our education system is that we've taken the love out of the institution, out of the schools, and therefore we're making it so that there is no feeling when you talk about what is it that you got out of school today. There is no feeling because they're taking us out of the equation. And so I just recently saw Roots, and I love the fact that now we can kind of tune into all different type of programs. But I saw the whole series of Roots all over again, and it kind of gave me reinforcement that where I am, this is where I belong. But also, there were so many great people who don't even have the names of Farrakhan or X or Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks, or they have no names, but yet they died to give us the chance to move forward. So that's what's up. I want to now shift just a little bit. State Rep, let's talk about House District 124. What do you want to say to your constituents? Because they're watching you today, and they want to know what is your message to them?
Well, my message to them would be thank you for trusting me to serve you at the state capitol. We are working hard every day. I promise that. We have about 20 bills right now that we're looking at in terms of that we authored ourselves that are directly impacting the issues that are important to you. When we were block walking and meeting with constituents and I was asking for votes, I asked what the issues were that were really impacting them, and everything that they mentioned, from cost of living increase for retired teachers, increase for teacher pay raises. I'm proud to say that I joined on to Texas's largest request for funding for teacher pay raises, as well as staff. We know that no school is going to operate without our support staff. So those are things that we're hitting the ground, making sure that we're supporting. Some other things that we're supporting within the community are trying to get to the root cause of some issues. We know that our crime rate in San Antonio is going up. So what we're trying to do is try to figure out how we can produce harm reduction. How can we reach those individuals who may not be on the clear path to seeking a more productive path, whether that be entrepreneurship, or even just seeing that they're worthy of something more than the streets and incarceration. So we're doing a lot with the juvenile justice system. We have some bills that are addressing foster kids and those impacted by the foster institution. And so many other things. Access to affordable medical coverage is another one. But basically what I'm trying to say is those things that my constituents have said were issues, those are exactly what we're trying to target while we're here. Because this seat isn't about me. It's about being an advocate who's willing to carry on the charge for those taxpayers and those voters who work so hard to put their trust behind us to serve here.
So thank you so much, State Rep. So Pharaoh, I had a question that came in, and it's a question that goes like this. It says, growing up in San Antonio, was there something that was missing or a void in your life that you had to overcome as a Black man, that now you know how to fix it in the lives of other young Black boys and girls coming up?
For me, I think the biggest obstacle that I overcame, and I think this might be a lot of our community as well, was I had to overcome myself as an obstacle. And I'll go a little bit deeper with that. So for me, I was raised, and I don't say this, I want to make sure I clarify, I don't say this in any way to make excuses. I don't say this in any way because of regret, because I don't believe in regret. I believe that every single thing that happens to us is for a reason, and it molds us and creates who we are. So I'm thankful for everything that ever happened in my life. But when I was a young kid, you know, obviously my mom and my dad separated at an early age. And I think I went through a big part of my life where that's, you know, that was the void that I was missing. But because I didn't know that and wasn't, you know, aware of myself, I was able to get swept up into a lot of the issues and problems that we see our young youth getting swept up into, you know, being in the streets, hanging out, just different, you know, things. And so it took, you know, a lot of self-examination, a lot of, like, you know, soul searching to really realize that, you know, the void that I felt was in my life, you know, that I myself had control over it, and that I myself, through you know, vocalizing, through using my voice, through using life lessons that I had experienced, to hopefully help others navigate and come out with more positive outturn. For me, that was life changing. It completely changed the trajectory of my life, and it put me on a different path. And it gave me the strength to then tell and teach other people that, hey, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, you too can choose to do whatever and to be somebody. And it doesn't matter, you know, who was there, who wasn't there, what was there, what wasn't there, as far as resources are concerned. You know, each and every day we have choices that we have to make, and those choices are going to determine, you know, outcomes in our lives. So I think for me, it was kind of the realization of understanding that in order for me to get better, I had to do better. And then for me, it's been since then is a nonstop mission of helping others that are in that same situation. Like Josey said, we work with a lot of at-risk youth, or people that, you know, may not be in society's eyes headed in the right direction. And what we try to do is give them different experiences, and expose them to different things in life, to teach them that it's a lie that they've bought into, that they are nobody. It's a lie that they've bought into, that, you know, they're a thug, or that they belong in the street, or that they, whatever it is, it's all lies. And our job is to liberate them by teaching them the truth. And the truth is that the keys to freedom are within. And you know, education is big in our hearts. It's something that we believe in, because, you know, the more you educate yourself, not just academically, also just on a personal basis, you know, the more you open yourself for growth. And in learning that personally, it's helped me tremendously. And, you know, I feel like my life's mission is really just to continue to spread that forward, because so many of our youth are damaged and hurt. They're making wrong decisions. And, you know, some of those decisions are changing their lives forever. I was one of those people that was lucky enough to pull back before I did anything that I would regret, or before, you know, I went down a road that I could not turn back from. And so I feel almost like I owe a huge debt to society of making sure that I'm teaching that next generation that, hey, there are other options for you, and it's not the streets.
Hey, from the heart, I'm gonna say this: when I came to see you two, that was probably one of the best office visits that I've had. Just because, and I hope the audience can really see and appreciate what leadership looks like. And I know that, you know, political campaigns are tough. People say a lot of nasty things about you, and they'll even say nasty things about us right now. But praise God. They're not the determiner of our futures. We are. And so I love what you said. And sometimes we have to look at ourselves and say, what do those, you know, we look at Black History Month and we'll say, well, who do we pattern ourselves after? But the good thing about being an individual is that you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is the guy or the woman who I have to work on, and then start from that point. So I'm very, very, very thankful for what you just said. Dr. Shwanda, you had something you wanted to add, because I just saw lots of things beaming off of your baited tongue.
All right, absolutely beautiful words, Pharaoh, because what I do believe that in education, we often can be the surrogate for those children that don't have the good, you had a mother that was there for you, right?
Yes.
But sometimes we have to be the surrogate moms, the surrogate fathers. We have to go in like the village. My father is Igbo. He is from Nigeria. And so we have a community. Everyone was older than me is my auntie. Every man that is older than me is my uncle. So in our environment here at SA Prep, that's how it is. These babies are my children. And when a child feels that love, you have a child that comes on one path and you watch like a butterfly, that child completely transform before you. And you may have thought when the first came in based on records or things that we're saying, that's why I don't like to pay so much attention to that. I like to have the child before me. Now I have boys call me mom, or I was just telling Christopher, excuse me if one of my babies come in and come hug me, because we become their parents, and whatever I can do, whatever we can do in the community to become that father, that mother, that auntie, that uncle for that child inside the school walls and outside of the school walls, our greatest goal should be growing these babies, because guess what? We get old. Right? And they're our future. And if we don't invest in our future, we can't complain about what we get.
I have to tell you, Dr. Shwanda, I was very, very extremely impressed by your students when I came to speak at that career day. I mean, I was expecting a class of kids. These were bright, intelligent individuals. I was just blown away by the questions they were asking. I said, okay, wait a minute. Okay, y'all did some research. Y'all did your own. I thank you so much for what you do. It's very important, and you could tell the difference.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for what you both do in the community. Just being able to see you there, Pharaoh, and see a Black man standing. There are so many statistics that show when Black and brown children, when they see a person of color in the school, just one, you increase their chances of graduating by 15%. But if you put two, now you have what? 30%. 30%. So you just do the math, right? So we have a school full of Black and brown people, and our admin is majority women. So what does that tell little Black girls? What does that tell Black boys who come in and make sure they come and hug me, and they hug you so tight? They need that. So I like what Christopher said, like midway. It's how we make those babies feel before we can begin to teach them academics. It's feeding you. It's saying, what need can I meet in your life, baby? You know, I don't want you to worry about whether you have a jacket or whether you have a shoe or a sock. I am your mommy when you're here right now. I am it. So you let me know so that you can focus on your studies, because you will be great. Not that I want you to be great. Now, you are great. And I see your future and it's bright. So let me sow into you right now so that you can be a part of, and I can be the person that gets to view and watch what God has caused you to become, which was already within you. So that's how we have to look at children. Children are not an inconvenience in education. They're not something that we just do for a career. And as we tell people that come here, if you don't feel that you're called to this, if this is not your life's ministry, don't mess with our babies. Go on somewhere else with that. Because we are called to feed and nurture the children holistically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and then academically. I want a holistic, I want a whole woman and a whole man when I walk out these doors, right? So when I correct like a mom. We are parents first here at SA Prep. So I correct like a mom who loves you, who wants the best for you, who wants you to thrive. You're not talking about any ordinary school when you talk about SA Prep. We sow our love and our tears into these babies because we know that we want to put out the state representatives. We know we want to birth out the president. We know that we want to birth out judges and community leaders, and it can only come from authentic love and ministry.
Well, I want to thank the three of you for just dropping so many nuggets of great inspirational knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because that's really what I got out of today. I'm going to share another screen. I'm going to go back to a screen that I opened up with. I'm going to allow Texas State Rep Josey Garcia to talk to it, because it's basically talking about some events that will be coming up, or at least she can talk about the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and they have some activities. So I'm going to share my screen. But I've been blessed. I think that we got a lot out of it. And I think the sentiment of we have to organize, and we have to do more is so important. Well, before I get to that screen, I'm going to share with you, Global Chamber is a global chamber that is in 525 metropolitan markets around the world. And so that's what makes us special. We just happen to be Global Chamber San Antonio. But again, if you have a business and you want to do business around the world, then please just DM me. That's not a problem. And then lastly, I want to go back to the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, because at this point in time, they're taking, I guess you say, RSVPs, because the summit is coming up. And if you haven't participated in the legislative summit, then you're missing something, and this is a real treat. So share screen, here we go. State Rep, you can take it away.
Yeah, so what we have here is the Texas Legislative Black Caucus 50th Anniversary Legislative Summit. And let me tell you why this is so important, y'all. Do you know that we have State Representative Symphonia Thompson, who has been here for those 50 years?
Wow.
50 years she has served as a Black woman. There she is to our far left behind me. She is somebody that is just a powerhouse in Texas politics. She's somebody that I'm so honored to be learning from. And what this legislative caucus anniversary is about is celebrating those 50 years of Black politics and advocating for the issues that are near and dear to the Black community. It's so important that we come together as legislators and, bring our communities collectively together. San Antonio, y'all, we have a presence. Texas is at the top of the nation for per capita of Black folks. And Dallas shows up, Houston shows up, San Antonio, we need you to show up for this legislative caucus, because this is how you can have some of our issues addressed on a national forum where you're talking to state representatives who represent all over Texas. Now, do we know that our issues are unique? Course, things that are going on in Houston aren't necessarily things that happen in San Antonio, but this is a time where we can bring community members together, community stakeholders together, and the entire weekend is just discussing Black topics, Black issues, Black legislation, and how we make actionable change happen. So please, RSVP. Anything that we can do to help get a solid group from San Antonio to represent at this caucus, please let us know. I see.
Look,
yes.
I see you.
Yes, this is my family. In the middle there, you have my father, Marcial. He's a first generation Afro-Latino. I'm so proud to represent him. Then you have my mother there. You have me as a baby. Over to the left, you see my grandmother, rest her soul. She's passed. But this is my father's mother, also Afro-Latina. And then my father's father is over on the other side there. So much beautiful, rich culture. And it just gives me goosebumps just to see them, because I was kept away from my family as a youth. My family was weaponized against me. And, I was taught to really be ashamed of the fact that, I had browner skin than other people. And I'm proud to say that everywhere I went in my life, all my hardships, I went through some horrible things, John. I'm not going to sit here and regurgitate trauma, but one thing that I know is anywhere I went, I was comforted by a Black mother. Anytime I needed to eat, I was always welcomed at a Black table. And those things are so important, because there's times where, we just want to love, like Dr. Shwanda said. Sometimes it's our ministry within us. And I can't even tell you some things that people don't know is that I've taken in other kids that weren't mine. I've raised Black boys that weren't my children. Now, that doesn't make me know the issue any better than anybody else, but it's a testament to our nature, our nurturing nature, especially that Dr. Shwanda was talking about. We endure all these things in life, and we're given them as these badges, these scarlet letters of shame, but they're so powerful, and we're able to build men. We're able to build the future of our history. Like when we're talking about Black history, we are Black history. Every day of this month, every day of this year, every day from here on forward, it's our duty to represent that.
An excellent way to end off our webinar on Black History Month. This is the last day, but look, this was probably the most important day. I've just learned so much. I'm glad that we were able to share. We have a Global Chamber event tomorrow. In fact, my chair, Monica, is actually going to facilitate a discussion on the Czech Republic and European updates. And this is one of the beauties of Global Chamber for me, is I get to travel, virtually or in person, just to see and learn different things. But this is a conversation that's happening in San Antonio because the Czech Republic has been courting San Antonio and Austin for such a long time. And this may be a good business opportunity, but we'll learn more tomorrow. You can find the events on the Global Chambers website on the events page. And as Pharaoh said, and he talked about his mother, tomorrow starts Women's History Month. So the narrative changes to honor and recognize women. And we'll be back next month to talk about outstanding women who have led us personally, professionally, and I'm just inspired. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all were beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chris. We really appreciate it.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
All right, God bless you.
And Dr. Shwanda, we need the CSA prep up here at the Capitol. We're waiting.
Oh, that'd be
Yes,
great.
please.
Right.
We will host you. We're excited.
Yes. All right. Okay. It's the deal. I
Yes,
will contact you.
ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
I'll contact you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and
Have a
I should
good
have
one.
said both Dr. Shwanda and State Rep Josey are part of our advisory for Global Chamber. So I'm just, again, thankful that you gave me your time today. And we're also going to bring on Pharaoh into the Global Chamber so that he can be official, because there's a lot of work that we're going to do together. I really love his spirit as the Chief of Staff. He's really got his mind set to serve the people. And that's what government's all about. So thank you again. God bless y'all. Have a great day.
Have a good one.